Come on in. Good to have you. Yeah, come on in. We got some space here, and not a lot of space on this side of the camera. Tons over there. Just gonna line up behind the camera. And that's our show. What do you think? Today we're going to talk about bad experiences. More importantly, how to overcome a bad experience. And a story behind that as well. Does it ever happen to you? Do you have bad experiences in the past, memories in the past, things that keep coming back into your future? I think everybody does. And we'll chat about today how to put that behind you. It is the Daily Boost from motivationtomove.com, the positive boost you need every single day. Life begins when you move, then life gets in the way. Inevitably, something happens. Usually somebody happens that gets in your way. It's not usually a thing. Sometimes we have things, hurricanes, stuff like that, car accidents, stuff. Well, it's like people. We pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, we stand up, take a step, repeat, we go after it until we get what we want. How are you? My name is Scott Smith. I'm the founder and the chief motivating officer here at motivationtomove.com. Just welcome to YouTube. Glad to have you today. This show is just for YouTube today. We didn't do a podcast on this one today. Well, we did, but we had to do it separate because of technical difficulties, which you'll see continue to happen. But that's okay. Continue to figure it out. Perseverance and patience and work to get it the best we possibly can. Oh, nice to have you here today. So let me tell you this story that happened when I was taking a walk around the block. It was a bad experience, and I don't get a lot of bad experiences. They do happen from time to time. I'm usually like, what was that? Didn't see that one coming. How does that happen? Well, the truth is that they do happen sometimes. I was walking my dogs, and, I walk my dogs. We're very conscious. I pick up every pile of dog poop out there, and I always have. I just do that. That's kind of who I am. I don't mess up people's yards, right? So I'm walking my dog by myself, kind of off my own world, and suddenly this man comes out. He's an old guy. Wait a second, Scott, have you looked in the mirror lately? Well, he's a much older guy than I am. He may have been drinking some alcohol, too. Smelled that. And he came marching across his lawn and proceeded to blame me for letting my dogs poop on his lawn. And I tried to say I was sorry. I said, I didn't do it. If I did, I apologize, but I didn't do it, and I never seen my dogs do it. I know myself. I always do it. He wouldn't take that for an answer. He had to tell me off. He had to call me names. He's been in the neighborhood 20 years. I've been here 2 years. He had to bring that up. He wasn't nice. And I said, hey, I'm a nice guy. Yeah, I'm a nice guy, but your dogs are pooping on my lawn. And he just went into it. And finally, at some point, it's like, okay, I need to deal with this. And I just apologized. Said, it'll never happen again. I'm not sure it did, but yes, it did. Oh, I apologize. It won't happen again. And I walked away. Done, right? Except the fact that it bothered me that evening. It bothered me in the morning because I didn't deserve it. It was an assault. It was a bad experience. And I kept thinking about how I could have handled it better. And I thought, no, I just couldn't handle it any better than I did. Didn't make me feel good. So I had to that's why we're going to do this show today, because I had to go back and brainwash myself. Didn't deserve it. Didn't expect it. Had to deal with it. So how do you overcome a bad experience? How do you do that? Well, if memories get stuck in the past, you just got to remember something. These unpleasant memories, which, could be very recent, could be just last night, like in this case as it was, or it could be years ago. You're bringing it back to life, aren't you? When you do that. Focusing on the good is good for the soul. So we know that. We want to feel good. And yet, how do we feel good when we feel so bad? Dwelling on the terrible is really not good for anything. It was a terrible experience, an assault, as I said. And it felt good to think about all the stuff that I should have said. You should do that. I should do this. I should do that. Right? You ever feel that way? So we all run into that sometimes. At the same time, I just knew there was a better way. My wife asked me one day, she said, how do you completely disconnect from the stuff that happens to you? And I'm not sure I'm very good at it, but I try to do it. And when stuff like this happens, I want to feel it completely, but then I want to disconnect from it. And I said, well, this is what I do. So I'm going to teach it to you today. I actually did this about a week ago to get through this experience and not feel bad about it. And I still walk in front of his house too, by the way. Number one, if you dwell on the past experience, those experiences will become real again. Today I'm talking about it. I'm not dwelling on it. Trust me. The very minute you focus on something, boom, it pops up into your head again. I'm not focused on the actual thing that happened. I'm just focused on moving on from it. So I don't feel it at all right now. But the very minute you do focus on the past, no matter what it happens to be, that feeling comes in, it's real in your life today. It will neutralize any positive energy that you have. You're going to be stuck. Are you stuck someplace? Have you been in that position before where you're stuck? Where you just can't get it out of your mind? Yeah, it happens. You're not alone. It's because you're dwelling on something. You're thinking about something. And it's taking over your present. Stop it. Number 2, lessons from the past are very valuable. Even bad experiences, you know what they yield. It's wisdom, right? Even negative energy, even negative emotions yield a lesson, experience, and eventually wisdom that teaches you how to deal with it. Are you paying attention to those lessons? You should. Then hang on to them. It'll get you there faster. Every now and then you'll be surprised. It'll linger a little longer than you thought. It'll take you a little bit more time to figure out what the hell happened. What happened back there? It might take you some time to figure that out. It's okay. Don't dwell on it. Some bad experiences are pesky. Have you noticed that? I bet there's some things that happen in your life that have been sticking around. Pesky bad experiences. And it's hard to shake them. It's hard to get them out of your mind. Feels good, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. It's like the devil whispering to me. Feels good. That bad thing that happened. Just keep talking about it. Yeah. So how do you get rid of that? Well, the trick is to define an action to get rid of them. So let me define what that means. It could be anything. If something keeps coming to your mind, it could be, I have a friend who always makes me feel good when I call. So call him. It could be, there's a certain kind of music that just makes me happy. So put the headsets on and listen to the music that makes you happy. There may be a movie that always makes you feel good, takes your mind off the world. When these pesky things are happening, just watch the movie. And the trick is, it's like an emotional trigger. Every time you're triggered to think about it, makes you feel bad. Immediately, as soon as you can catch yourself, do one of those things that make you feel good. Break the pattern, break the pattern, break the pattern, break the pattern. And eventually, the pattern won't exist anymore. Eventually, life will be pretty nice because you won't have to worry about all that crazy little stuff that we have going on, do you? Remember these words? You've heard them before. You'll hear them again. My friend Mike Dooley says, you become what you think. He says, I forgot what the wording is, but choose good stuff. Choose the good things, right? You become what you think about. The focus is going to come into your life. It's going to take over your life. Don't dwell on the past negative experiences because that's what you're going to get tomorrow if you do it today. Think about the good stuff in the future. Just immediately change, and think about the good stuff. Think good thoughts. It will become really good for you here in the future. Look for the opportunities to make it that way in every possible way. It's simple stuff, but we need to hear it again and again and again. Why? Because we're emotional creatures, every single one of us. And those emotional creatures live within us and mess with us all the time. So we have to remind ourselves all the time because there's lessons we learned a long time ago we forget that we know. Okay, tomorrow. How to run your life like a business. Yes, you should. There's a successful business, not a bad business, a successful one, okay? In the meantime, do me a favor, go over to dailyboostpodcast.com/Facebook and check me out there. We'd love to have you in our group. And if you can't remember all the stuff I talk about at the end of the show, like dailyboostpremium.com, just remember this. Go to motivationtomove.com. Everything is over there for you. You can find me there. You can see what we do over there, all that kind of stuff. And if you really, really need to just can't remember, just come back tomorrow because I'll do it again. I'll see you there.